My exhibition of paintings here is really the work that I've done over the past 5 years. You will see a very kind of eclectic range of pictures here. Starting from quite representational, of the scene, for instance, plus some things that are more imaginative. Then some things which I enjoy, some things which are done for fun, like some little still lifes, and looking at flowers. Earlier on I was really working quite sort of experimentally with the paint, but doing a real scene, as if you were looking through a window or a camera or something. But then I wanted to put in some of my more imaginative, or things that I wonder about myths and things that you wouldn't actually see there, but people think they see there. We started with some quite realistic paintings of the cliff and things, and some semi-realistic paintings of places like the sculpture park, or of objects, and there's one of Barbara Hepworth's Family of Man inspired abstract painting. I keep looking at this idea of objects being a bit like in children's stories, you know, how objects have got their own life, as it were, and when no one's looking they come to life and things like that. So it's a bit like that, and I went to the sculpture park, and all the sculptures are objects, but then you can imagine them, obviously the artist wants you to imagine them as people. And it was such a really, really cold day, there was nobody there, and you could just see this poor chap sitting there on his own and wondering what he was thinking about. I'm exploring the ideas and things that go on in my head as much as I am with the paint. And sometimes the paint will do that for me, and sometimes I have to try and make it do it for me. The latest paintings have been these 4 figure studies, which have developed from my life drawing. So some of the stages are just different ways of applying the paint, and as varied as possible, and then drawing on top of that, and then trying to get something out of it, and then using a little sanding device to excavate the surface underneath, and then to bring that back out into a drawing, and then make the negative space really simple to emphasise it. So it gives the actual person kind of life and a power, really, you know. It's the first time, really, I think, that I'm starting to do things as a series. So I did all these when when we were locked down, and I was going every day to do the painting. This picture here, which is actually 3 pictures, it's a triptych. A lot of people like to ask questions about it. They find it a bit puzzling. Why, for instance, these paints don't look to be finished, or why it is 3 pictures all put together, or why there seems to be a mixture of the way things are represented. When I first did it, I just set out to do a nice little still life of these lovely autumn oak leaves and the little pumpkin, but then it seemed as if they were on a table, and it seemed as if they were like characters on a stage or in a play, and my attention was drawn to the other things that were in the studio as well. I could see this little part of the paint tube coming into the picture, so I carried on spanning a bit wider there to include those paints, and then sort of going for it a bit more with the paint brushes, because it started to be about the oil paint itself and how messy it is and how it likes to run about, and if you try to paint on top it smudges, and the characters of what happens with these brushes, what happens to them, like you just touch. So it's giving life to objects. The top to this paint is sort of left on stage. Was that a mistake, or was he just, are they just trying to get in on the act a little bit? And this panel is connected to the other panel because there's the lid for the yellow paint. So it's like it's been there and left something there, and there's quite a lot of things that could have been happening. And it's not really complete until somebody else sees it. And then I wanted to explore the possibilities of paint and this subject of the potted brushes even further. I just thought about focusing in on the actual brushes there by putting just a bit of paper over there, masking it out, and then painting around it and taking it off. So if I wanted to develop this idea, I thought, well, what can I do? I could do something, carry on that idea and work on a much larger scale. So I had this big canvas here. So this actually is how it started off, just in black and white or monotone. But I wanted to get it as gestural as I could. So this was lying on the floor, and I had a great big long stick, and I was squeezing and splashing and things like that to get all this movement. If this is what I was doing now, as it were, I wanted to sort of go back to how I started with my artwork, which was when I was at school, and we did nothing but draw flowers all the time. So I thought about putting the tulip, doing a realistic picture of the tulip, or painting of the tulip, as part of this one. So there's a bit of a conflict of time there. Well, I think it makes it quite a contemporary piece in that it's starting to put different traditions and ways of painting together.